influence economic expectation na Sierra. Well, we get studio guests, we na lecturer and editor who can help we for discuss this. Yourself can be part of this discussion. Go on our Facebook page, Talk FM, and send your comment there. Now go for this break, we can engage with guests. content where they give out, how that they drive economic expectation of the country. Well, the studios I get lecturer and editor, we na Sheku Putska Kamara. A lecturer at the Mass Communications Department of Arabic College, and also the edit Expo Times, of course, the magazine as well. Good morning, Putka. Welcome to Twitter Morning Show.
Many thanks, RSK. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so you don't be into the game for a very long time now. You teach people, you train people, you mentor people, and of course, we all know how the economy is now in the country. So let me start to talk about like the media in your economy, how it's like as a lot.
Okay. Depending on who you talk to, the media economy way you want to call the political economy of the media. Now something we're very topical in the sense you get a host of media institutions that now in the country where they try for propagate. It's a range of ideas, but as always, every media institution gets an ideology, largely as a result of what we call editorial policy. Waiting one institution they do, if possible, say not to any other one they do. Some man and they will get similarities, but there are vast differences. But if we get into the discussion of the political economy of the media, you get theoretical perspectives the way they tell we say. Because you get people and individuals, whether public or private sector, where they sponsor and support media institutions, it is possible that them media institutions there, they know they do something where they go against their sponsors. So at the end of the day, now they tell about the idea, say you cannot bite the finger that fits you. Now, most of this they happen because media institutions in Sardin are largely constrained. When you talk effective media management, you therefore take them from the perspective of management in itself, that there has to be a utilization of available resources. But when you look at the media in Asalon, those resources are not readily available, but you still have entities publishing and broadcasting or wanting to come into the business of media. So whether they happen, the moment you get somebody where they try for sponsor you, your allegiance will be tied to that person, the way you want or what they do. So if you discuss media perspectives now in the context of say the economy in the country, if possible say every media institution will likely do what they in line with the editorial policy. And I will discuss a few media perspectives as we get along. So for example, you get a lapdog goal of the media where they suggest say some media institutions then go only sing songs of praises to people who they sponsor them, whether in government or what have you. If you get any government or opposition or any sector where they sponsor you, no matter how negative that sector they do, it's possible to say, they bring their negativities then to the public. Then they disturb the trust of journalism, because ideally it does not really matter the kind of platform where we try for propagate. Journalists are expected to enhance accuracy, balance, and clarity. But sometimes, because of some of their factors there, they're not able to do what So I think it all starts with the vision of establishing some of these media institutions.
Okay.
Like you rightly say, media, I can always tell my students them, not to say where they come for, say you want to get instantaneous money. There has to be levels in management. The turn away some of we start media, we not be volunteers. We are not even paid salaries. Yeah? Then they give you stipend, say take transport, go do something. Back in 2010, 2011. Everybody when they come into media now, he want for start today, he gets 1, 2, 3 million, then pay an instantly. Look, it does not work that way. When you start corporate media, with the requisite information, quality information, business they always come. Like rightly they say, we get media institutions now, especially newspaper, where they come into business just for adverts. And in fact, it is so worrisome that you get entities now where they cannot publish without adverts.
Yeah.
Where they basically tell you, say, they are into this business largely as a result of the profits that they get. Now, whilst it is important that we get economic benefits, I think, say, the quality of the agenda now we get for prioritize. Like I tell you, the levels in management, I mean, they are very clear, theoretically speaking, from the least management, the middle management to the top management. When you do your work well and get to the level of top management, you would obviously see the resources. But for just grab and say today, for today, and something where I think, say, we need to get a discussion around them, even though it's almost out of hands now because they could say, we get a host of institutions who they come into the business largely because they want to forget what I would call that instantaneous gratification. They say, I come today, I get benefit today, and that is a problem. Because the media agenda, no matter how we look at it, has to be tied around fact-checking and what they call the watchdog role of the media. Yes, by the establishment of the Independent Media Commission, the IMC, all of us are free to be partisan, but even at that, there has to be a way we distinguish between the comments, facts, and conjectures. I always tell people, what is right is right, what is wrong, and what is right is right. But when you come into the business with an agenda we're not correct, it disturb yourself and individualistic credibility, plus of course the credibility of the institution where you operate. And normally there are content that will tell you that the person is the message, the medium is the message. If the medium is known to uphold things that are not credible, it's possible to say whatever we put out, then we'll question them. If the individual is known to be taking sides, it is very possible that they will always question the content of what it is. So it is never a bad thing. This is a democracy. We want as much media institutions as possible, but let there be a focus. Let there be an understanding of why they are into business, why they want to come into the business, because the public service model has to be prioritized. If they come into business for make money, say you're a journalist, I am not sure the public service space is for you. Because facts over fiction, therefore, be way too they do. When the IMC says all of us, newspapers, periodicals, radio, TV, must take care not to publish inaccurate, they're not they tell you say go ahead and publish what's inaccurate. Yes, we can make mistakes. That is why there is a room for interaction. But the point they tell you say we for make all reasonable efforts for ensure say what we they say now the correct thing. But we are so constrained and challenged now that because of this same political economy, you go see people they fight battles, setting agendas, even when they know say not correct. Somebody will argue say largely because we don't pull part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act. But maybe now the understanding is small. We still have the civil aspect of life. Now the criminal aspect they don't pull. So the responsibility now for say, whilst we set agendas, we have to go in line with set dictates. We can always say there is no place for falsehood in journalism. If you get a reason for saying anything negative, let there be a justification. The IMC will tell you say, let we distinguish between opinions, comments, and facts. So I think say this now discussions we continue for the over the years and be really necessary for the consent.
Now when you look the IMC Act, they tell you say then get the mandates for get realistic media. Anybody can go and get your newspaper. But you often see Gandhi as well don't be abused because, as you mentioned, everybody wants for the newspaper because of waiting and no see. For example, if we work for one newspaper, then as see the money come inside, see the advert will come inside. By the end of the day, they get the minimum wage. I go and go before them say we get newspaper and come for the same advertisement. we of course, as I said earlier, not shape space.
Mhm.
So even though we say we have pluralistic media as per human rights or as per the INC Act, obviously then as well. Now big problem we don't need newspaper they all flood all over the place.
I think the idea of a pluralistic media not a bad thing. Now the utilization of these platforms, now in the issue. If you go to IMC, I mean it's a pity to say this, you have people going to IMC for register newspaper. Then we'll go with the requirements, say the person forgets at least a first degree in mass comm, for example, or communication. You go register for somebody with experience. After I don't register, you will notice that that person may not really edit the paper, then just stay and go for go register. There's somebody who gets in paper, will begin to run the paper. So what that suggests to all of us now, the fact say, we still get monitoring problems in this country. When you dey run an entity, if you are the individual, when are the proprietor or publisher, when not get that requisite background in media, it is possible that you can go ahead and set any agenda. Now people will send content to you, say, I want to publish this now for and they pay for that. Whether it is right or wrong, people they publish because of that basic 1 or 2 million where they will send for them. So again, it they talk about media poverty in the country. I mean, we are so poor as a nation that you get entities where they are into the business, they cannot survive without the adverts, like they say.
Yeah.
Someone will even want to publish a paper, you know, even getting money for copying. So what does that tell us? It basically they suggest to we say we are not yet there for that we pluralistically speak about enhancing democracy through the media or through the press. We get credible institutions, we get individuals where not able to sustain themselves. I mean, we don't want to name names, but we are into the business where they see a lot of papers where I think they're able to sustain themselves with or without adverts. Now, whilst the adverts are something very important, I think say in it for come as a result of the work where you they do, as a result of the credibility where you get, and the reach of your paper. And I think we have institutions doing that. We get entities now in this country where then go select some top media institutions for say now once for one I can cover this. Largely because of what the institutions say how they do, the coverage, the reach, and perhaps the credibility. What did they suggest to all of we are the fact say, when you're into the media business, if you do your work fine, you not really need for go out and seek for a lot of things. Like you say, good markets they sell themselves. If you know what you do, chances are you will have people coming at you because of the things that we do. So to me, I think say we all get this responsibility for continuing for doing it right, because at the end of the day, people judge you by the things you do. If you begin to do it not correct, you're not going to expect all kind of people that will come to you for do business. But when you do that which is right and make all reasonable efforts, I think say there will be some reasonability on the part of even the people doing the business for come and do business.
So I go describe now the relationship between content with the media and the economic expectation.
I think the discussions would touch on the fact that media content, we are rightly placed, gets a huge effect on the economy. Largely because if the media they set an agenda from an informed perspective, it is possible that the leadership they follow and tend for nothing they happen. So for example, last Friday, Finance Minister go read 2025 budget. Out of that budget, no matter how you look at it, we have a host of positives, but we get things that we will need for improvement as a nation. You will get a section of the media, if you watch today, we will tell you, say, this is a fantastic budget meeting. You will get some other section, we will tell you, say, there are challenges, even with the budget where they don't need. You will get sections that we will tell you, say, even with what we don't say, we know they see the reflection of the society. All of that touches on watchdog, attack dog, and lapdog goals of the media. Now, whilst attack dog and lapdog now things that we will not they totally kill out, I think say what we need now a watchdog model. Because we cannot be in a position of always singing songs of praises as a lapdog. And equally, we should not be seen as an opposition. We cannot always attack and suggest that nothing will go on right. So I think say if we uphold the watchdog model, we will be able to foresee the role of the media in economic development. Now by a watchdog, we will always say we have a responsibility to set an agenda, but also to ensure accountability and transparency. You will get a democratic participants theory, for example. This ministry, this department, this agency don't say this. Come back to this same MDA, ask the right questions. You say this, now this may happen. I mean, they have a responsibility to give us answers. When we set those agendas, people can read and make informed decisions. We always talk about agenda setting and use and gratification. When we come na radio or media, we know they come for tell people them say now this now the situation or circumstance. We they set an agenda, we they allow the people therefore use the information for their own satisfaction. So it is not a problem to ask questions. That's why we're journalists who would always ask the 5 W's and 1 H. It is the responsibility of the respondents for come out, explain to people everything at the circumstance, let the people then make use of the information. So yes, we can uphold all of these platforms, but accuracy is something we cannot toy with, and I think saying that they drive the course for let people that make the informed decisions then, whether in the economy or any sector.
I continue for this. Me in a shop with Staff Kamara, in a lecturer for the College and Communications and Faculty, and also an editor for Expo Times and also the magazine. Don't forget to watch and listen to Two Talk Morning Show on Two Talk Radio 98.5 FM. We're doing the program this morning at Ishmael Side Kano. You can be part of the discussion, go on our Facebook page and drop your comments. Let's go for this short break. We'll continue to engage the media experts. Welcome back to Two Talk Morning Show. Nina Ishmael Side Kano. Still get to Chef Mr. Kamara. We are lecturer at Communications Faculty in FPC and also na editor for Expo Times. So we still talk about splitting the way the media and play or media content to play for the life economic growth. Now, basically, we talk about the experience so far. If you don't get any way to come to how the media shape public opinion in terms of economic growth.
Okay, like I rightly don't say, shaping economic growth now something very gradual. It not happen instantaneously, but it's likely going to happen as a result of the numerous contents where media institutions have set. But if you look at some of the challenges, not to every media institution they focus on economic reporting, for example. You get some sectors where go report on them in passing. You get some the way they get designated economic reporters when our work they do. Now, the importance of this rule are the fact say, if you get people then, in this case journalists then, where they go out for get correct economic information, when they set that agenda, whether on radio, TV or newspaper, people will listen and make informed decisions. So for example, there was a rumor around 5% tax increase for this race.
Yes.
Yeah, Minister make an Parliament class say this not to take place until 2025. Now 2026. If you get an agenda, we will tell you say they don't increase this 5% tomorrow. That is wrong information. But the negative thing is that you get what we call the magic bullet approach, where someone what is seen on paper, whether right or wrong, you don't see another newspaper, they agree saying so. For some man, because you don't view on a TV, you don't listen on a radio, they agree saying so. So that is why the responsibility of the journalist now for say he always say waiting right. This is not to suggest that we cannot make mistakes like I've always been saying. But we would always say when you're wrong you admit and defend. And sometimes we clearly come out, there's a room for us to make corrections. We'll say, I make mistake, but I make this correction. Now, the importance of quality agenda setting are the fact say, when somebody listen, view, or read correct economic information, they go able to know the position also within a country. For example, governments don't promise for the increase some 15%, some 20, 30, on to 25, from 5, 10, 15, 20 to 30% salary from 2025 in April. When you get that information, lot of what you talk say government don't increase salary instantly because they not reflect it, for example. Yes, we know there are challenges with the wage bill, but even at that, government still they make efforts for increased salaries. Just last month, government increased some about 30 to 40% salaries for some, civil servant them from grade 7, 8, 9, depending on the circumstance. Now we know say this is something very gradual. Till to 2025 in April, we understand say a host of grades go don't get that salary increment. Correct economic reporting will ensure say you tell people waiting at the circumstance and not to preempt or presuppose or presume say this don't happen already. Like how they say, we're not going to make Sierra Leone heaven in a day. We get the challenges, but we get a responsibility for also talk say waiting right is right. And when there are challenges, we get a responsibility for hold government accountable because that is our job as journalists. Not of all you always they sing songs of praises. If government know they do waiting right, you have a responsibility to hold those people to account. That is why we have ministries, departments, and agencies, institutions that were readily responsible for certain things then at the country.
So put that the media they really do enough for the income issue they can to the economy. Now the public accounts committee then they get saying and then they bring down MPs, then business institutions, then and parliaments for discuss the things then way maybe they get tax or things that way they not do right, things that way they not pay, and all of them. If you say the media don't do justice to all of the things they inform reports on the economy and the things that happen around the economy.
The media are already doing role, but I think there is room for improvement. But again, I think we would give kudos to the Deputy Speaker Tawa as Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. I think say doing this in there has been more openness in the Public Accounts Committee in so far as media proceedings are concerned. You know, even need for going to parliament for nothing that happen. They have this Facebook Live, so at least that monitoring day a day. Sometimes the challenge that the facts say we have colleagues that are not too energetic to do the job, largely because they're not there into this for all of these agendas. They're there into this because of the basic benefits the way they get. And I think saying that is the problem. If we go back to years where some of we start media, I'm not sure say most people that were into media now will able to survive into media. Because the money where you want for you know you they talk about salary, they're not gonna pay you salary. So if we started those we jog start the years for go back to those days, I think so it will be a problem. So whilst all of we they make efforts for set agendas, I think so we also get a responsibility for no say we are into this business to serve people and not just for self. You go always come to the position where now you go begin pay yourself. Today I dey into media, nobody pays me anything. I get based on what I do. So you get for going through the stages in life. Like how would they say, Rome was not built in a day. The agenda where we set as journalists them, now they determine how people then go able to follow with content, how people then go take we serious, how people then go take we for granted. So if you they say something we're not correct, you're always someone who comes back to retract. You suggest this when in actual fact na dandy. It is not placing you in a credible position. So we all got to make efforts, and I think so there's a room for more training. Not to every institution in the country even gets economic reporters like how they say. We're talking about economic reporting. You get reporters where perhaps will talk on everything. Whilst that is fine, but I also think say specialty is something really important, because if you specialize in the specific area, it's possible say you will get more details into this and you will able to get an understanding of what they happen. You get people that will never go inside parliament for go report. It is possible that if they go there the first time, they will get some challenges, for example, or court reporting. So, whilst it is important that we set agendas, I will always want to talk say we have a responsibility to ensure that we set accurate and balanced agendas. Where that is the case, people then go always come in for follow those contents and make informed decisions.
So what do you think, say, for her? Because if you go Al Jazeera, they get this program counting the cost, we they look at the economy and the world, or even though they look at specific countries there. If you go BBC, they get World Business Reports, they get some other business programs that really come every day. Within journalists then as alone for make sure see they're able for the reports, get specialized programs, they will get page in the newspaper. We will focus on the economy for drive economic change in the country.
I think it will have to start with serious management. We're not getting resources for one media institutions in this country. Even the institutions that we will say they are sustainable, when it comes to serious media business, they are not sustainable.
Okay.
So I think, say one, we can forget the requisite resources for the upkeep with entities then. You get journalists them way one to do the job, but largely as a result of the challenges where they face, they're not able to do their jobs here. We still get institutions that we're not even able to pay the journalists them. It is not ideal. Now even the IMC don't make it clear, but are we following what the IMC says?
You mentioned monitoring.
Yes. If you get a reporter, I mean there are reporters where perhaps not get a second source of income. They solely depend on this journalism for do their work. If you're not able to pay them, you're not able to control the content where they come with. Because costing, agenda setting, popularization, you know, they go out for the do them thing largely because they're not able to get things them. So I think say it has to start with serious agenda setting, recruiting trained and qualified people. When you don't recruit trained and qualified person, now you go tell and say you na court reporter, you na parliamentary reporter, you na economic reporter, you na health reporter. But if you're not paying this person, you just assign roles and responsibilities, there would be no motivation. So I think say whilst it is important that we're having all of these media institutions, then we come back to the board of being very serious enough with what we do. If the IMC says we need one editor and at least 2 or 3 reporters, all of those reporters are expected to be on a payroll. Give a specific duty. We go bring the story. Now we duty as editors for add and subtract based on what they come with. But if these people are not on payroll, they don't have the motivation, I'm not sure say them will get the requisite desire or urge for do what they need for do. Because at the end of the day, you get a media institution will always be into the business for the advert. If not that they day for without the advert, like how they say, some man will able publish. So that is the problem. Let us start with effective management, get the required resources, and see say we train people then for the specific roles. So a possible say some entities go tell you say this don't go already, don't go viral, and not get the urge again for certain. But perhaps what is not visible now the new media space, now thematic and investigative journalism. Social media will always give you a tip of what will happen. Now we have responsibility now for sending with reporters, with journalists, for go dig deep and get the factual thing where don't happen. So whilst we see all of them content here, with the requisite staff, we can always deploy people to say, go ahead and set an agenda or follow up on this. But without that, we're not going to be able to get the required things. So the challenge will always stay. No matter how you look at them, content will always be available. But now we have responsibility for sending people for dig deep and get answers and set the agenda.
Okay. Now, we can see media house them, especially newspaper, they sensationalize headlines them. For example, US government on this alone $480 million for the energy sector. Make a one kind way people at this morning about money, or they will tell you say during the budget presentation at Parliament, Ministry of Basic Education gets 20%, you know, 300 and something billion euros with 10 kinds of sensationalized headlines in the. You say they drive public expectation.
First things first, on a professional standpoint, sensationalism is something we should not encourage in journalism. We can always say waiting right is right and waiting wrong is wrong. Sensational reports are more framed reports. I mean, framing takes 2 folds. You can either spin, you prime the information for suppress harm, but in this case, you are framing it, you don't necessarily exaggerate harm. And when that happens, You get people that way very gullible. Anything is seen a paper, not true. Anything is seen a TV or listen a radio, not true. So for that kind of people in there, when you set the agenda, you don't accept saying that in the case. Sensationalism would not thrive where there's professionalism. We all get alliances, we all get things that we appreciate, things that we want to do. But when it comes to news reports, we always talk with journalistic ABCs. Accuracy, balance, and clarity. If the news is too sensational, it cannot be balanced because it is possible that you go don't take sides. If the news is too sensational, it cannot be accurate because it is possible that you go don't add some things that we're not for the part of this. So, whilst we look into economic reporting, whilst we look into taking sides or positions, we get a responsibility for understanding, say, as journalists, we now like what they call the fourth estate model. Having a responsibility of holding all arms of government accountable, from the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. If we begin to support the arms of government against the will of the people, we are not enhancing an informed citizenry. We are not enhancing what you call a very well organized society. When we ask questions, seek answers for improve the country, not only in a work, not in a watchdog role, not in a democratic participant. But if we are solely dependent on a lapdog role, which is entirely about development media, it gets in own positive things, but sometimes the negativities may override the positivity. So now that they make with a call on all journalists, all entities for CC, whilst we set agendas, whilst we enter the business to make money, let us prioritize the idea of making sure that whatever we publish or broadcast not true. Because if it is true, we go don't get an idea of the duty to self and the duty to society. We always talk utilitarianism, providing the greatest good for the greatest number. And in this case, the greatest good would be about saying what is right in the interest of Sierra Leone, just so that anybody will read, listen to or view the content will know, say, yes, this is not the area where we do well, and that this is not the area where we need for making improvement.
Now, we feel crisis can be so chaotic at times, and journalism can always get an angle from reports. So in a situation in the side, the fear crisis don't be people know they get fear. How if you say journalism or report then kind news then?
I mean the aspect of fuel scarcity now something we always they hit the headlines because it affects everybody. I mean everybody within the country, yeah, from the layman, any human being within the country. Let me not even specify that. It can largely happen because of information knocking flow, especially on the part of the regulatory body when at the PRA. Anytime there's fear of scarcity, PRA will tell you sometimes they're not going to be able to talk to the media because now something where they're out of the control. If they're within their control, sometimes they are not sure so they go on for going to fear of scarcity. When you see a situation, even the PRA heads, whether Balua or deputy, go even go to a station for say when I cancel, largely because the supply of the stock not enough. In that circumstance, then I am not sure you're going to precinct PRA or government, now day, no day. And sometimes when there's fear of scarcity, it will make a host of things difficult. Even somehow go and go, you know, get fuel for put like your vehicle or bike or whatever. So waiting and they suggest to win at the fact say we still get room for improve. Now if you go talk to PRA, then last release prices are stable and go tell you say we get enough supply. I mean, God forbid if we go into a situation where next month there is no enough fuel, you will see a lot of headlines. But waiting and they suggest that the fact say we get for the monitor institutions. If institution don't tell you saying that this not the case, we get a responsibility for make follow-ups. Sometimes where institutions then they maintain the price. So for example, the last 1-2 months they don't maintain the price. We are not even talking about fuel because salon maybe now the first 2-3 days or 1 week people they concentrate on the thing. The moment it don't pass then level a day, we don't forget about that. But I think say we get expert opinions where they even suggest now say this 27-30 what they buy fuel if I don't go down by now, but people still they buy them at that level. So PIA always get a responsibility for certain agenda. I mean they are a regulator, they will always tell you what the global oil market price or what have you. But in the end, people they not go want for no waiting they happen na top level. To them, and they just want for see a reduction in fuel pump prices. So we all get a responsibility for set their agendas than they. Engaging PRA, for example, how many of us are even meeting PRA to suggest that would there be a reduction? Because we are almost always comfortable with instantaneous things that hold on they see. So I mean, nobody's wishing for scarcity. We're coming into festive. I mean, November is almost done. December is almost here. We're coming into the festive season. You know, one for say there will be enough supply because in the end, not only they keep the country going.
All right, let's talk about the qualities the way journalists forget for reports on the economy, because at times figures can be problem. You know, statistics can be problem, or even as you mentioned, the information can be the for journalists. Reports on the economy.
Yeah.
But which if you say now the qualities where a journalist forget, if you want to focus on report on the economy or reports things them where they drive the economy.
So first things first, journalists get for day in a position for understand waiting they don't say. You are a reporter. You're not going to suggest to us what is happening or what has happened. You're going to tell us what someone has said. Now you work as a journalist. When the finance minister go read the budget, there's a speech. Your responsibility now for quotes and attributes, yeah. But you get circumstance where people will tend for make up figures. When finance minister tell you say then go get for make up to 30% increment in salaries. If you go write 50%, we're not the minister say you are misinforming people. So figures now something we will not need for joke with into media, because in the end, like I would say, we get people away gullible. Whatever they see, read or listen to, they take up for granted. So as a journalist, we get a responsibility for cross-check with information. Sometimes if you notice say this information not clear, not assume say that this is not the case. That is why we have contacts. You can always call to make follow-ups. I would always tell people, when you make follow-up and somebody not respond, it is better for them you say, I try to do this person not respond, than you publish or broadcast where you not sure of whether you don't publish or broadcast. Because we always talk about morality and legality in reporting. Once we have a moral obligation to protect confidentiality of sources, when it comes to legal matter, then we'll tell you so that is source. So you get for the quote and attribute. I mean, quotations being the actual words of speakers. When you quote somebody, nobody know can say you say you don't fabricate something. Because not to you say, now somebody say. When you attribute, you suggest who that don't say something. So I think say, whilst education is important, we can first stick to the fact, say whatever we say has to be accurate, or for in a position for quote and attribute, just so we are on the safer side.
So social media, because you self mentioned earlier, how social media, of course, they help for, because we all know it's ready. We social media not the you see the radio, the newspaper, and everybody rely on for information. Now if let's say I go back to the fair or the budget, government pull press release or pull statements on the one end. In the twinkle of an eye, the media don't get that. Social media, to be specific, don't get that. And nobody know how to listen to radio again and watch and read a newspaper. So how social media don't change the way how people in the view the economic situation we can to all the things that they were mentioned earlier.
So I think we are now in an information society whose we're not able to control all sorts of information again. Waiting to happen now are the facts say social media will give you all the tip, the buzzers, with responsibility now for explore the extent to which this news or information don't take place or don't happen. So at the end of the day, social media for complement what we really do as newsmen, whether the print media or the electronic media, because online media now don't they part of almost traditional media and print media. We're on a radio, broadcasting live on YouTube, so it's a blend of old and new media. Now, if you don't get your tips as a journalist, your responsibility now for go talk to the rightful sources. Social media no go always get the chance for bringing all views and all perspectives. Now, yanda we don't work as journalists can. They'll always tell you there are two sides to a story. Others will tell you there are more sides to every story. Social media no go talk to all them sides today. But as a journalist, you are at liberty to reach out to those people, explore. You know, I was talking about episodic reporting and thematic reporting. Social media will give you that episodic perspective, a tip of the iceberg. Journalists now for go into deep and for investigate for know wetin don happen, for bringing those thematic perspectives. So I think say for complements one another. When you get a tip, go into that, talk to the rightful sources and get detailed presentation. At the end of the day, that detailed presentation can come back na the same social media for say this na something we don follow up and at the conclusion this. But when you just take it as it is on social media with little or no effort for adding to the information, I think that is where lazy journalism is happening, and largely because one, you get entities wey not even get reporters. So some man, because they know say no able pay the reporter, they prefer they not even get reporter. So the lazy aspect, and they go see say they're into the business because of profitability issues, because they don't want for spending resources, and no matter how you look at it, we cannot discuss media without resources. Whether the sustainability of the entity or the people or the management aspect, you just have to have the resources, otherwise there will not be productive media.
At times you see dollar they go up, and the journalists go just report the dollar they go up, and maybe sometimes go if you go for good change, then it's easy that I don't go 2,300,000 and something. Now the Bank of Salon will tell you say now so now the rate this. Where you gonna see it now different rate. I if you see journalists for play along this particular situation, you say you go to streets, you get different dollar rates. You can't at the bank, you get different dollar rates. How they for reports we come to the way our dollar they go?
We will always go well, ideally we should go with the official prices. But black markets now something we will not able to regulate na this country yet. If you go to a bank, you will go able to get $100 for 2,000, perhaps 3 something. Where you come on a do, they will tell you say 2,400. In fact, some side they will say 400, you have 20 or 30.
Yes.
Largely because we're not able to control the price yet, because black markets still exist. These same people will come inside the bank, buy the dollar, come on a do, can't do business because of that small profitability issues. Which is something we almost don't accept as a nation. As a journalist now, we can do comparative analysis. The price at the bank and the price at the black market. Sometimes and they you not could get too much difference. Perhaps it can only be a cause for concern if the difference is huge, and then at the turn out when newsmen can come inside. But because we don't so accept them as a nation, because the price, the difference not boku, and so we can left and so even when it should not be happening, I think that they don't make we not pay too much attention. But we not don't see a circumstance whose the difference too huge, except in a circumstance or a situation whose we not get enough dollar supply, or perhaps there's some scarcity. But other than that, I think we're not doing badly, because for the last few months, going to almost a year now, the dollar don't be a bit stable.
So before we wrap up the program, you just feel saying as somebody we read communication or read other thing for the reports on the or for encourage people, for example, we do economics at the university, or we do financial management.
It is never a law that na possible do communication for reports on economic matters. In fact, let's build on journalism.
No, I will say, for example, you get people from the economics departments, like we factor them into journalism, give them training.
They can even
get
do
the
well.
economic background.
They can even do well as economic
background for my farm.
Yeah.
Then able for at least push.
Because they get the practical knowledge and the academic knowledge. If you bring them into journalism, they can do well. But just a quick one on this. Somebody who read communication can be any kind of reporter.
Yes.
Somebody who is a specialized person in field can come into journalism and focus on that area there. Because they can you say you can get a very good commerce student in medicine who can be a medical reporter. You can get a very good law student who can come into journalism and be a very good course reporter. So at the end of the day, we can encourage all other sectors with specialized training. Journalism na fact finding, but you can always train people and for do much. So I think say with right resources, we can bring in people on board and make the job easier.
So finally, what if we see editors, station managers, media owners and for make economic reporting a priority?
We need to prioritize getting trained and qualified people to do the reports, and we need for them in a position for able to recruit them people there. And recruitments come with all the professional ideas, from payments to services to benefits. We can't forget the resources for training people here. Otherwise, we will continue to talk about these things. So let there be a situation also where we are able to recruit these people just so that they are motivated enough to do the job.
Okay. Thank you so much, Puskari, joining the program this morning.
It's a pleasure. Thank
well,
you.
in a check with Puskar Kamara, na a lecturer and communication faculty in FPC, and also na editor for Expo Times and also the magazine. Well, me don't be Ishmael Saidu Kanu, we doing the program this morning. Plenty thank you to producer Frida and Sammy and the team. We make one see on YouTube and Facebook. Till we meet again tomorrow at 8 a.m. for another edition of Two Talk Morning Show. Have a lovely Monday.